This video includes spoilers for the show Silo on Apple TV+. It also will get those spoilers from the books Wool, Shift, and Dust, and include spoilers for the TV show and books Game of Thrones. Please do not get spoiled. If you don't know, please leave this video now. This video also includes a rant against events in Episode 2 of Silo. If you saw Episode 2 of Silo and loved it, don't listen to this rant. It's just a different opinion. This is pulled from our podcast, which you can find on our YouTube feed. Well, Endless Mike, at Endless Mike03 on Twitter. And again, these are spoilers, the listeners. I want you to leave. He wrote the point that just kind of drove me nuts. He wrote, I'm a book reader and my lady isn't. I don't think they told and showed the twist well at all. I had to explain it to her.
Now, you are sure he's talking about the twist in Episode 2?
I'm positive.
Okay, great.
And the reason why I'm positive is because I've listened to 2 other podcasts on Silo this week. And in both cases, it's one book reader and one non-book reader. And in both other podcasts, the book reader host kind of explains to non-book reader host what they saw at the beginning of Episode 2. They are having to explain what happened on the show. Now, it could be a couple of things. It could be that the showrunners thought, let's kind of make this more mysterious, and rather than kind of spell out exactly what happens,
right,
where the book expels out what happens.
Right, we're in Episode 2.
And that could be a great choice. It could be that they tried to do it the way it was in the books and just kind of failed in the way they shot it, edited it, and put it together.
Well, but before you go on, I'm going to register my feelings now.
Yeah.
If the book readers are having to explain to the non-book readers what happened, maybe that's not what happened on the show, because they have shown enough of what's going on here that I don't need to know what's really happening outside.
Okay. Well, this is going to get to it. And once again, listeners, we want you to not listen if you don't like spoilers.
I don't know if I want to listen. I don't want to be spoiled.
You can hang up if you don't have to be a part of this if you don't want to get spoiled. But let's just get to it.
Okay.
So we got to go back in time. Amazon releases this thing. Amazon starts as an online bookstore, and then they start selling a bunch of stuff, but their kind of primary focus was always books, even, a decade into their business or more. They start allowing, kind of anybody to submit stories and sell stories. Hugh Howey writes a short story entitled Wool that he puts up on Amazon. It's self-published. It's just him. Hey, I write this story, put it up. The story blew up. This short story blew up. And that kind of inspired him to say, oh, you know what? I should write another short story in this world kind of based after the last one. So it's like a sequel. And then it blows up. Long story short, he ends up making a novel out of this and then making 2 more novels and making a series out of this. It all started because of this short story titled Wool. And specifically, why did it blow up? It blew up because of the ending to Wool. And what is the ending to Wool? Well, it's the beginning of Episode 2, which is completely ludicrous on the showrunners. It should have been the end of Episode 1. But anyway, what is the ending? We're in Holston's head the whole time. It's third-person perspective of him. He goes outside. He sees, wait a minute. The world outside is beautiful. It was right. This is incredible. Let me go clean. It's beautiful out here. He goes outside and he sees everything. He doesn't see his wife's body anywhere. He just sees green grass, blue skies, everything perfect. And he's perfect. And then he's gone just a little bit and his stomach starts to hurt. He's like, oh, well, maybe it's just, I'm cramping up. Suddenly he's realizing that he's in pain. He's like dying. He can't feel anything. He's like, well, maybe it's because I'm in this helmet and I got to take this helmet off so I can live. And so he takes off the helmet and then he realizes, oh, crap. No, what was in the helmet was a projection they wanted me to see. The outside world is terrible. The outside world is contaminated. The outside world is what we've seen all this time. It's poison. It's toxic. He sees that this thing he stumbled on, which he thought was like a rock or a tree stump, was actually his dead wife's body. It was Allison's body. and he dies being betrayed. It is a gut punch. It is an oh crap moment that we just had in the feedback a second ago. And it was such a powerful twist. It was such a painful twist that everybody who read that short story was like, holy crap, what an incredible twist. I want to go on. Now let's talk about a couple of things. So the big thing that sets up, and this is in the short story, or if you read it in the book form, it sets it up on page 40. It tells the reader, the viewer, okay, the outside world is contaminated. His wife didn't escape. His wife is dead. Everything is bad. The reason why that's so important to let everybody know that the outside world is dead and bad, why do you want it in a show that's going to go on for a while? You want it so that if somebody else gets threatened with cleaning, you're like, oh no, they got to be careful because they go outside, they're going to die. The second thing that you think is if somebody does get sentenced to clean, you're like, oh my God, somebody's got to save him. Something's going to happen. It sets boundaries on you. You're not questioning what's outside. You know what's outside. Now, book readers will say, yeah, but there's other things outside that yada, yada, yada. Yes, we know. You're going to see that at the end of season 1. But the point is, it sets up the rules. It's not a mystery box show. The mystery is something like, well, why did they fool him why do they fool anybody and make them see this fake world when they step outside? Oh, they fool them so they clean the camera. And suddenly the mysteries become different. This show, by making this scene at the beginning of episode 2, was completely stupid, but also by telling it so poorly that literally you have somebody, a fan, Endless Mike, having to explain to his wife what he saw. You have podcast hosts having to explain to their other hosts what it was. That is effing ludicrous. I want to go even further. What you have done is, if you go on YouTube right now, you have somebody literally who's posted this theory, and I love them. They're getting thousands of hits, but they have this theory where he goes, you know what? I think I've figured out the mystery of Silo. I think I figured out that Holston was watching a video that showed the world perfect, and that, in fact, the world is contaminated outside. And this person is posting it like they solve a theory, where in the book, it's quite obvious that's exactly what it is. Similarly, you have people in the comments literally writing, you know what? I think I figured it out. There's poison in the suit. It's not the outside world that's poison. It's in the suit. Now, if your job is to make it a mystery box show, I guess you've kind of succeeded. But what's funny is you have people spoiling other people and say, no, this is exactly what happened. To me, it is the most infuriating thing. I've gone online and said, this is the equivalent of Bran getting pushed out the window. That's how big a thing it is. It's actually the exact same thing as Ned Stark's death. Spoilers for Game of Thrones. But if you watch Game of Thrones, it's set up that, okay, Ned's in deep trouble. Oh, no, Ned's in the dungeon. He could be killed. Oh, wait, there's this hope. Oh, Ned's going to be sent to the wall. It's okay. Wait, no, Ned's been betrayed. They're chopping off his head. It is that gut punch. If you know Game of Thrones, it's that moment that exploded the internet in Game of Thrones season 1, which made everybody go, oh my God, the oh crap moment, the oh wow. What the show has done is screwed up something as simple to pull off as Ned Stark's death. It's the exact same thing. Or Holston, oh no, he said he's going to go outside. He's in trouble. You give them the false hope. Oh, wait a minute. It's green outside. Oh, this is perfect. Oh, then you cut the rug out from them and you give them the gut punch that it's supposed to be. And I am so furious that the show fumbled this that it drives me nuts. And then one final thing, and then I'll let you talk, Catfish, is that TV critic Alan Sepinwall, who we refer to a lot. Alan Sepinwall's opinion is no more important than your opinion, my opinion, anybody's opinion. But Alan Sepinwall, in his non-review, he said, I tried to watch Silo, but I really quit watching because I really don't care about what's outside and any of this stuff. And I thought to myself, you don't care about what's outside and the big mysteries of what's outside. What's so funny is in the book, it's not a mystery. You're told on page 40 what's outside. The outside world is toxic. You can't live. You're going to die. And so then you can focus on the characters and the other things. And so it just hurt me so much. Now, just because it hurt me, just because I'm frustrated, doesn't mean it's not good. Once again, I've heard from so many book readers who say that they love it. They're fine with the change. They think I'm crazy for mentioning it. I do want to point out I have had a couple of people reach out to me online and say, oh, Bubba, I agree with you. So that is my rant. I apologize that I feel that way. I apologize that I've upset you by doing it, but I just got to be honest. That's how I feel.
All right. So the first thing I'll say is that, and again, this is just my opinion, that every person who explained to a non-book reader what happened is wrong. They're wrong.
Yeah, that's
to
what's
say
funny.
That's what happened.
That's what's funny.
They should not have. They should not have said this is what happened, because that's
right,
not
and
what happened on the
we
show.
We didn't on our podcast, Catfish. It was important that I didn't want us to do that either.
Right. So that's not what happened.
Right.
So what I'll say is this, is that to me, I felt like I got enough from this period, from this episode moving forward, that I think the big reveal of what's actually going on outside, I don't need that yet. So for me, it's like a book is different than a TV show. This is interesting because I always wonder when I'm giving a rating to an episode, am I judging it based on what I want to happen, or am I judging it based on what's happened, or me being disappointed with what didn't happen? And so for me, I'm completely satisfied with it. Even with you telling me now what's happening, I'm still happy with where things are going. So again, I would just say it's always, 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 always dangerous to read something right before you watch the this is what I always say is if there's something that you read a while ago and it's not really in your memory, is watch the movie / show first and then go back to the book.
Well, to me, because in my mind, once again, and the show has a bunch more. We haven't spoiled all the others, but the show has a bunch more of these kind of what I would call gut punch shocks that are very true of the novel, A Game of Thrones. And that show, kind of did those gut punch shocks exactly as they're done in the books and were really good. And it had the same effect on viewers as it had in the books. Those gut punch shocks were recreated in the TV show very faithfully. And so the viewers had those same gut punch shocks.
Well, let's see now.
I didn't see how they could mess it up. I didn't see this even being an option.
Well, since this is a book spoiler discussion, and since you've just read it and now are noting every single thing that's different. No, I'm just kidding.
There's a lot different.
What next section do you think they will? I'm have you put on your speculation hat now. Where will they in the book, in the series, show that the outside world is as we've seen it?
Well, that's the hard part. With being very vague, because I know some people, even though we've said don't listen to this, they're spoilers a million times. The way the book plays is the next person to be sent out for a cleaning, you really don't want to go. And you, like I said, it sets up that, oh crap, the outside world is toxic. You can't breathe out there. This is trouble. Somebody's got to save them. Something's got to happen to prevent this character who I love from dying. And so it feels like the show almost has to create another one so that when this character, once again, the next person to go out for a cleaning in the book is going for a cleaning where the reader has all this information like, oh no, they are doomed. This is trouble. And so there isn't another person to kind of do that. So it almost feels like they either are going to have to really reinforce the point that happens at the beginning of episode 2 to let you know, or I can't, that's a great question. I can't figure out how you would get this across.
Well, what if in episode 3, they start off and they show you from his point of view?
You mean Holston's?
Yeah.
Huh.
We go back to the beginning of this episode.
We go back to the begin. We go back and see why he suddenly said, "I want to clean," because there hasn't been a great moment that shows why.
No, not that. I'm talking about him going outside. We see it from the other side, but we see him going out to clean from his perspective.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, let me say, you would have to do it. You'd need to do it by before the end. You'd need to do it by the end.
Yeah, so you could do it in the 3rd episode, or the other option, as you said, is put out somebody else.
Right, somebody who
we don't
have
really
another
care
cleaning
about.
that isn't in the book. Right?
What about the drunk shadow?
Goodbye, Cooper. Let me say that, okay, so once again, this was how the first short story ended. The second short story also ends with a gut punch. Hey, I'm just me. Hopefully you don't feel this way, people. But if somehow they mess up the next gut punch in the book, which is definitely coming. Like there's almost no way that you could do the show and not have it be coming. But the next gut punch in the book, if they don't give it the justice it deserves, if they don't do it as great a gut punch, then I'm really going to be worried about the show. I mean, I'll still enjoy it. Even with this, it is a good show. So I've ranted hard. Once again, I was never this tough on the Strainer Emerald City. So this show is not chaff.
You didn't read the Strain book.
Thank God. All righty.
All right, hey. Bubba. Well, this is good. Again, hit us up at Double PHQ. You can hit me up at CJGman67. Bubba, how can they reach out to you?
If you completely disagree, kind of don't do it on Twitter because I don't want anybody to be spoiled. But you could send us an email to hello@doublepmedia.com.
Oh, I love that.
That's the word hello@doublepmedia.com. But if you disagree on YouTube, like I said, this is going to be its own video so that comments can kind of be free. If you disagree, hit me up on YouTube, send us an email. Once again, I'm gonna put this negativity behind me and really try to go into episode 3 with my chin.
Until they disappoint you again.
Right. Until they send me out to clean again. So that's my thought.
All right. Well, let's see. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens in the next episode. Is it another person, or do we see it from Holston's point of view? We will find out. I'm gonna put my money on the second one, and if I'm right, Bubba, all these comments about me and my low intelligence or reading comprehension will still be valid.
All right. So let's see if we can say it together. You'll hear us on the next episode of
The Cleaning.